الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين الهداة المهديين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين في مقدمه الفداء ولعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في محكم الكتاب المبين وهو أصدق الصادقين وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. صدق الله مولانا العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Dear respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I begin in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, and I seek refuge in Him and Him alone from the whispers of shaitan. As we continue to discuss the vital points of hope, attaining true hope in opposed to attaining false hope. And we discussed in our previous talk about the ways to attain. And one of the ways to attain and one of the ways to determine that if you have hope is what? Number one, modesty. Number two, honor. And number three, purity and chastity. And we discussed about honor. And inshallah we will continue with the discussion of honor. And I'd like to present to you, and please allow me to elaborate further on this mawdu, on this topic, a very beautiful hadith that states that when you have honor, when you are responsible, when you are not immature, and when you are not irresponsible, when you take matters in your own hands, when providing for your family, this is what you have to do. And there are different types of honor, dear brothers and sisters. In the hadith, it states that there are five types of honor. And inshallah, we'll discuss the 5 types. So, number one, this hadith states that this type of honor you have to do in according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. And what is that? Number one is go against those people who perform shirk. So those people who associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prevent them from saying so. Now, Islam is not a religion of enforcement. Islam is not a religion that you can say to other people, you have to follow. No. Islam is a religion of peace and tranquility. Islam is a religion in which when we talk about religion, the fragrance comes out from Islam. So we realize that when we talk about Islam, people come towards us. But when someone talks shirk, when someone performs shirk, it is our duty to do what? To prevent that. Now we can either prevent the shirk by our heart, by our tongue, or by our action. When we talk to the people, when we engage with one another, and those people who perform shirk, when we speak to them, say to them, brother, sister, this is not the way it should be, this is not what life is about, and shirk is haram in religion and it's against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do we not read the Quran when it says قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ? Do you not recite that? And we come to a conclusion that if they accept, they accept. If they don't accept, then you've done your duty. And if there's situations in which you are allowed and you are permitted to go and physically perform an action to prevent shirk, then you are allowed to do so. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, when performing iffa, when performing honor, when he came back from miqat, he witnessed that his community were all sheep followers, sheep worshippers. And Musa's brother was in that community, in that society, and Musa goes up to him and says, what have you done? What have you done to these people? Were you not in the middle of these people? Were you not spreading the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Were you not spreading the religion? What were you doing here? And Musa's brother replied by saying, Yabna Ummi, in a very light voice because he was very scared. He said, Yabna Ummi, I tried my best. I tried to warn these people, but no one listened to me. They frightened me, they scared me, they said, we're going to kill you. They were about to take my life. And I said to them, be whatever you want to be. Musa alayhi salam replied by saying, I was the one that struck my sword, struck my stick, and the river divided into two. I was the one that got rid of Fir'aun. I was the one that did this and did that. And I come back and I see sheep worshippers. Is this animal even worth worshipping? So dear brothers and sisters, have responsibility. Have that sense of sensitivity to do your responsibility, like we explained in the previous talk. Spread the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Spread the word of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And go against, oppose those that perform shirk. Speak out. Tell them. Give them reasoning. Give them examples. And we have endless examples. At the time of Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam, there were atheists. There were people that didn't believe in God. Next minute, they believed in God. There were people that performed shirk, but when Imam alayhi salam talked to them, when the students talked to them, they realized this is what we have to do. Spread the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Spread, as we are on the footsteps of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, inshaAllah, spread the words of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Number one. Number two, protect your holy sites. Protect the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. One day someone was cursing Imam alayhi salam, and this is a narration from Imam alayhi salam, from an infallible. And the infallible replied by saying, Man sabba aliyan sabbani. And continued by saying, Man sabbani sabballah. Those that curse Ali are cursing me, and those that are cursing me, cursing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So look at the difference. Protection. The Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, protect them. Protect the holy sites. Because we have the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. They need our help in whenever they are alone. Muntasir Abbasi, his father, as you all know, was mutawakkil. The son, at the time of Imam Hadi alayhi salam, now Muntasim, he heard foul mouthing and cursing, and he got closer and he heard that his father was cursing Hazrat Zahra salamullah alayha. And he told Imam Hadi alayhi salam that this is my father, this is what he's done, and I want to avenge him, I want to assassinate him, I want to kill him. Imam alayhi salam, don't do that. But Muntasir, he did it. He assassinated his father Mutawakkil. He was very protective. He protected the religion. He protected the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. But this is what we have to do. We have to protect the Ahlul Bayt. Because we are on the footsteps of the Ahlul Bayt. When we walk on the footsteps of the Ahlul Bayt, then we don't want anything or anyone to go against our Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. But for the dear brothers and sisters, we shouldn't also take matters in our own hands. We have the authorities. The authorities, when we inform them this has been done, this is blasphemy, this is what they've said about our Prophet, this is what they've said about our Imam, this is what they've done to our holy book, then we have the authorities. We shouldn't take matters in our own hands. We have people. Harith Hamadani came to Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib because he was one of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and he said to Amir al-Mu'mineen, "Oh, Imam alayhi salam, I love you, I adore you, there's no one better than you." And he was praising Imam alayhi salam. And dear brothers and sisters, listen to this very, very carefully. These are the lessons of our life. Life's lesson that we need to take on board. And Imam alayhi salam, within this hadith, and you'll all know that Imam alayhi salam is teaching us for the future generation. Harith came to Amir al-Mu'mineen and stated this. Imam alayhi salam replied by saying that, فَلَا تُلَاعِبْنِي, that don't play with us, don't make us your game, don't joke about us. وَلَا تُمَازِلْنِي, don't make us the center of your jokes. No one should dare to make the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam the center of their jokes. Ahlul Bayt, red line, no one should cross. I'm not going against joking, I'm not going against having fun. No. Have fun within yourselves. Have jokes within yourself, but do not involve the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam within your jokes. No. Harith was a true companion of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And you know what Amir al-Mu'mineen said about Harith? He said, I will visit you at 3 times. عند الموت, عند الحوض, وعند الصراط. Look at the importance Amir al-Mu'mineen gave to Harith. That I will visit you. When your life will be about to be taken from you, I will visit you at the house and at the Sirat, at the bridge of Sirat. Now, whatever Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib said to Harith, it wasn't for him, Because Haris clearly knew not to mock and not to joke about the Ahlul Bayt. It's for us, for the next generation. In the same way, the Quran is for lil alameen, not for one nation, not for one community, not for one society, and not for one era. It's for every time and for all eras. You cannot joke around. Joke around within yourself, that's good. That's good for your the sense. And it's always good to sometimes joke. Joking at specific times, yes. That was number 2. Number 3 types of honor we're talking about. Number 3 is go against tyranny. Oppose tyranny, oppose oppression. من سمع رجل ينادي يا للمسلم. Anyone who hears the cries of anyone and is calling upon the Muslims and he does not help, even though he hears it, فلم يجبه, means that if he does not answer, فليس بمسلم. He's not even Muslim. He will not come under the category of a Muslim. Shaheed Mutahari, rahmatullah alayh, stated that we should know and we should recognize the shimr of our time. Every time and every era has a shimr, a Yazid. Know him, recognize him, and go against his ideology. Stand against him, stand against oppression. And I don't understand why some say that we shouldn't help Palestine. We shouldn't talk about Palestine. We shouldn't talk about Yemen. No. They are calling for our help. And if we don't help them verbally or physically, then we're not Muslim. Number 4, protect those who go against your family. Protect your children, protect your wife, protect your sisters, protect your daughters. Because nowadays in our society we see people who are without hijab, or let's call them semi-hijab. And it is our duty, dear brothers, dear fathers, it is our duty to call upon our sisters, our daughters, and our wives to have hijab. This is one of the lessons that we learn from Karbala. Muharram is not only about wearing hijab, wearing jubbas, or wearing long dresses in Muharram. No, not for 10 days. Hijab is for all year round, for every single year that you live, not only for one specific time. No. We sometimes see that those mothers that are covered with hijab, but their daughters are without hijab. They have the ideology of free will. Where is free will come from? Where does this come from? When it comes to hijab, we learn from the hijab of Hazrat Zahra salamullah alayha. We learn hijab from Hazrat Zainab salamullah alayha. Do we not claim to love these individuals? So when we focus and when we get our mentality right, dear brothers and sisters, we have to comply and examine who we are and know who we follow. Number 4. Number 5, protect your soil. Protect your country. Fight for your country. There have been many wars throughout history. Protection of their lands, protection of their territories, protection of their country. And if you cannot do it verbally, then when you have permission, do it physically. You can either stop this by your heart, your tongue, or your actions. And if you don't care about anything like that, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala state? ذَلِكَ مَيَّةٌ أَحْيَا. That this person is a walking dead, like a zombie. There's no use of him. He does not care about his family. He does not care about his land. He does not care about anything else except for himself. ذَلِكَ مَيَّةُ الْأَحْيَا. Try and become those people that attain goodness and have hope. These were the 5 elements, 5 types of honor. Now previously we discussed 2 attributes: the recognition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ma'rifatullah, and recognition of the abilities one has. Ma'rifatul isti'dad. Now inshallah we talk about the recognition of the world and the recognition of the Day of Judgment. 2 remaining points: recognition of the world and recognition of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And believe me and you, I guarantee that most of us do not comply and do not know and do not recognize this world and the hereafter and the Day of Judgment. Those people that recognize this world and recognize the Day of Judgment, they will never become hopeless. In the same way, if they recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and recognize their own abilities to have hope, then they will never be hopeless. Let me give you an example. When someone leaves this world, when someone is on their deathbed and about to meet their Lord, when they've gone, we don't know what's going on after that. We don't know what will happen to them. Or for those who are ill, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give everyone shifa, give everyone health and safety, inshallah. They don't know, the people who are ill, they don't know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken from them. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has lifted from them. That burden that was on their shoulder, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lifted when they were ill. We don't know. We neglect the idea. And for those people who are ill, for those people who get ill, recite the dua. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. And we have a very beautiful verse from the Holy Quran. This verse from the Holy Quran is an image, a total image, an outline of our life, the world. It states that you were born, we gave you life, then you were a baby, then you transformed into a young boy, and then you were in the Middle Ages, and then you became elderly. 5 stages Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions. When someone is born, he reaches an age, 1 year old, 2 year old. He wants his toys, he wants to play, he wants to drink milk, he wants to do everything. He's a king. It is his time to do so. The Quran states, إِنَّمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا لَهْوٌ وَلَعِبٌ. لَهْوٌ وَلَعِبٌ. It is his time to play. When he reaches a certain age, 16 and onwards, it is his time to be zina. It is his time to look good. You see, some people, when they reach the age of 16, they have this image of spiking their hair, making all types of models on their hair, different types of beards, wearing different types of deodorants every single day just to impress. They're at that age. And I'm sure that most of us have gone through them stages. Then when you grow up, reach the age when you have a family, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes it as tafakhurun baynakum. That you will have pride within yourself. You'll say to yourself, oh, I have this car, or I have this house, or how big of a house do we have, or what kind of foods that we eat. Tafakhurun baynakum. You will engage with one another and say to yourself that I have done this and I have done this. Then when you reach the age of 40 onwards, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, takathurun fil amwal. You will think about increasing your wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has divided life into 5 stages. Lahwun, la'ibun, zinatun, tafakhurun wa takathur. And do not take life lightly. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you the opportunity to present your life in the best possible manner, and when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expects the best from you, because you are Khalifatul Ard, you are the successors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you represent Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do good. Don't tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or don't advise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, oh Allah, give me one last opportunity to go back to earth and then I will do more goodness. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that you will do the same or even worse than that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praise us. His glory is endless. His mercy is endless. He is all forgiving. He provides for everyone. Surah Al-Hadid, verse number 20. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the outline. And when we take life lightly, we shouldn't say to everyone, or we shouldn't say to anyone that there's no difference in this and that. So for example, those people who say that praying at 5 o'clock in the morning or praying at 6 o'clock in the morning, there's no difference. There's no difference in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's eyes. Let me just sleep for another hour, then I'll pray. Well, we all know that you won't get up again. Some people come to their teachers and say that, why have you given me 99.5% in my exams? What's wrong? And when the exam paper is open and the teacher says, you've not mentioned this in your paper, what's the difference? I mentioned it there, but you've not mentioned in this answer. That question was something different. But just give it to me, there's no difference. No, there is a difference. That same person, when the surgeon and the doctor says to him to take this medicine at 8 o'clock in the morning and before you sleep 8 o'clock at night, takes it exactly at 8 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock at night, not 1 minute less and not 1 minute more. But when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are flexible. We say that, yeah, an hour or so wouldn't make a difference. But dear brothers and sisters, it does make a difference. It makes a huge difference. For example, those people who pray salat on time, their virtues and their status is different to the ones that pray 2 hours later. It is stated in ahadith that those people who pray on time are like they are praying behind the Imam al-Zaman. Hajjallah Faraj al-Sharif. Then you have other people say that eating this and eating that is okay, yet it is haram. When they eat half a chocolate bar and they realize that this chocolate is haram, they say, okay, there's no difference, I've already eaten it, let's just finish it off. It's going to go to waste. Or someone, when they go to restaurants, they order a halal dish, a haram dish. And when they order the haram dish, they say, it's okay, let's just read Bismillah and it'll be lawful for us. Wallahi, we get people like that. Dear brothers and sisters, we have 2 words in the Holy Quran. Kha'idin wa hafidin. Kha'id, someone who drops down, someone who sinks. Fa'iz, someone who attains victory. Those people who enter Jahannam, the fire of hell, the people of the fire of hell, the people of hell, will say to the newcomers that, what's going on? Where have you come from? What brings you here? And they reply by saying, Ma salakakum fi saqar. Number 1, what's their reason? What is their reason for them to enter hell? And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from these points that I am about to mention. Number 1, Ma nakum min al-musallin. That we weren't from the worshippers. We did not pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We took everything lightly. قَالُوا مَا نَكُمْ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. Number 2, وَلَمْ نَكُ نُطْعِمُ الْمِسْكِينَ. That we didn't provide, we didn't help the poor and needy. We thought that this is our mal, this is our wealth, and we want to make ourselves feel good. We want to enjoy life. We forgot about the poor and needy. لَمْ نَكُ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ وَلَمْ نَكُ نُطْعِمُ الْمِسْكِينَ. And number 3, وَكُنَّا نُكَذِّبُ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ. That we told other people that the day of judgment is false. We took the day of judgment very lightly and we didn't expect the day of judgment to occur. And the 4th point is the most important point. وَكُنَّا نَخُوضُ مَعَ الْخَائِضِينَ. That we hung out with the wrong crowd, with those that engaged in badness, with those that reminded us of shaitan and not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for those that degraded us and not elevated us. Someone drank alcohol at the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, called this person and he said, what have you done? He said, I've drunk alcohol. And Amir al-Mu'mineen said, 100 whips, 100. People said, Ibn Rasulullah, 100 whips, is it not 80? They said, because it's the holy month of Ramadan, I added 20 more. So instead of 80, 100. So that night went and they said, okay, not tonight, in the morning. The people came to Amir al-Mu'mineen and said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, this person is young, he's committed a sin, please forgive him. We insist, pardon him. Amir al-Mu'mineen said, no, I do not take hudud Allah very lightly, no. Just as we take other things lightly, hudud Allah is not light. And they said that if you whip him 100 times, he'll follow Muawiyah. He'll go to Muawiyah. Amir al-Mu'min said, we do not enforce anyone to go anywhere. If he chooses to go to Muawiyah, then let him go. But this is the had, this is the hudud of those that drink alcohol, one, and moreover, in the holy month of Ramadan. So in the morning he was whipped 100 times. And eventually he became the follower of Muawiyah. And when Muawiyah saw him and he said, what's going on? How come you've come to our side? He said, because I escaped the justice of Ali and came to you. Because I know if I drank alcohol in the holy month of Ramadan, you won't do anything. So dear brothers and sisters, know your had. Know what you are doing. Harun al-Rashid, he was the one that cried a lot. Cried for musibah, cried for everything. But at the same time, he was a dancer. The best dancer you could find at that time. Now we don't want to say that we are to face, when the time of Muharram comes, we are spending time in mourning, crying, weeping for the tragedy of Karbala, and other times you are doing haram, forgetting about the lessons that we learned in Karbala, forgetting the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and saying that, yeah, today is fine. I've experienced it personally on Eid, the day of Eid. 30 days of fasting, and the time of Eid comes, yeah, a bottle of alcohol wouldn't do any harm. Let's celebrate. These are the people, dear brothers and sisters. Stay away from them and protect your religion. Spread your religion, and everyone has social media. Spread the religion of Islam through different platforms. The sayings of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the narrations of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salam, the stories of the Prophets alayhim as-salam. Give it, spread the knowledge. Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, guide us, and elevate our status in this dunya and the akhirah. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين السلام عليك أيها العبد الصالح المطيع لله ولرسوله ولأمير المؤمنين والحسن والحسين أشهد لك في التسليم والتصديق والوفاء لخلف النبي المرسل. The thirst of the caravan of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salam got worse and worse. It came to a time when it was unbearable. Maqtal states that some of the children of the caravan of Karbala, they rolled there. The thirst of the caravan of Imam alayhi salam got unbearable. Narration states that the children were so thirsty they rolled up their clothes and played in sand. Imam alayhi salam was thirsty, he was hungry, he was tired. All his companions left him, thirst got unbearable. يحول العطش بينه وبين السماء كالدخان. Thirst circulated everyone. Everyone had left. There were two remaining. The first was Qamar Bani Hashim, and the second was Imam al-Hussein. Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam was always there when Imam alayhi salam needed him. Abbas was the flag bearer. Abbas was the protector. Abbas was the guarder. He guarded the tents of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhimus salam. Abbas said to Imam al-Hussein, Ya Imam, I have a request. Can I go to the battlefield? Imam alayhi salam replied, Ya Abbas, you are the commander of the army. Without you, I wouldn't have an army. Without you, I would be all alone. But at this moment of time, they saw and they heard the cries from the tents of the Ahlul Bayt, calling out, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. Imam alayhi salam looks at Abbas. Oh Abbas, I will not permit you to go fight. Oh Abbas, go and fetch some water for the children. Go and fetch water for Sakina. So Abbas alayhi salam got on his horse. Narration states, Maqtal states that Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam was unarmed. He rode towards Al-Qami. He rode, and we know that when Abbas alayhi salam fought, he would have fought viciously, but he did not have any armor with him. He did not have any weapons with him, because Imam alayhi salam did not permit him. He rode towards Al-Qami, and the enemies dispersed as soon as they saw Abbas. Abbas got to the Furat, he got to Nahr Furat, and he looked at the water. He looked at the water and he filled the water in the water skin. He was about to leave. He placed water in his hands, and he looked at the water and he threw the water. And they said, فَذَكَرَ الْعَطَشَ الْحُسَيْنِ. He remembered the thirst of Hussein, and he threw the water. He remembered, and he placed the water skin on his back. He rode, he thought that if I go through a different direction, if I change the route, I will get there faster. I will give the water to the children. I will quench the thirst for the children. I will quench the thirst of Sakina. On his way back, he praised the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam with poems, loudly and loudly. And Imam al-Hussein, when he heard it, his heart was at ease. The children got excited. They thought that he will come back with water. They thought that they will quench their thirst with water. But as soon as Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam was coming, sing. He was singing poems loudly, but one moment his voice got faded and faded, and they couldn't hear. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam looks, and he sees no Abbas. He sees no Abbas, and Imam Hussein alayhi salam goes to the battlefield and fights and goes to next to the Alqami and says, Abbas is full of blood. Abbas has an arrow in his eye. Abbas, there's no water. Where is the water? Ya Abbas, talk to me. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam howls Imam Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam's head, and he says, what am I going to say to Ahl Haram? What is my answer going to be when I return to the tents? And what shall I do? Shall I leave his body here, or shall I take it back to the tents? But the cries got louder and louder from the tents. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam walks back, and he sees a Sakina. She says, oh father, where is my uncle? Aina ammi al-Abbas? Aina ammi al-Abbas? Imam Hussein alayhi salam looks at his daughter Sakina and says, Sakina, Abbas has left us. Abbas is martyred. Now Maqtal here states that Imam alayhi salam looked at Hazrat Zainab salamullah alayha, said that, Ya Zainab, tell the Ahl Haram to change their clothes. It is time for you to be captivated. It is time for you to be present. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله وسيعلم